If you are thinking about picking one up, I just want to walk you through my experience living with it like a normal person, not as a demo. I have been using it day to day, and I have a pretty clear sense of what feels great, what takes getting used to, and what I would want to know before putting one in my own bathroom. At the simplest level, this is a one-piece toilet with a built-in bidet and a bunch of comfort features that are meant to reduce how much you touch, how much you mess with separate attachments, and how much you rely on toilet paper. It is for someone who wants the bidet experience but does not want to deal with fitting an add-on seat, mixing parts from different brands, or guessing whether everything is going to line up. It is also for anyone who cares about easy cleaning and a more consistent routine, especially if you have kids in the house, or anyone with limited mobility where reaching and twisting is a hassle. What made it interesting to me is that everything is integrated. That sounds obvious, but it changes how it feels in real use. Instead of sitting on a regular toilet with a bidet seat bolted on top, it feels like one finished unit. The seat shape, the lid movement, the washing, and the drying all feel like they were designed to work together. That does not mean it is perfect, but it does mean I am not constantly noticing weird gaps or wobble like I have with some retrofit seats. In person, it has a clean, modern look. It is not trying to look like a complicated machine, even though it is. The surfaces are mostly smooth, and that matters because bathrooms get dusty and gross fast. I like that it is easier to wipe down without catching a rag on sharp edges. The seat feels solid when I sit down. It does not flex in a way that makes you feel like you have to be careful. The lid and seat movement feel controlled, not like they are slamming. If you have ever had a toilet lid that bangs down in the middle of the night, you know why that matters. Setup is the part I want to be real about, because this is not the kind of thing you casually carry under one arm and install in 10 minutes. It is heavy, and moving it into place took me some planning. I used a small cart to get it into the bathroom without straining my back. Once it was in the room, I took everything out and laid it out so I could see what I was working with. The instructions were clear enough for me to follow without guessing, and there was a placement guide that helped with alignment. That sounds minor, but it saved me time because I was not measuring and re-measuring as much. The biggest practical requirement is power. This toilet needs an electrical outlet close enough to reach without doing something sketchy. In my bathroom, I needed to think about where the cord would sit so it did not look messy or get in the way when cleaning. I ended up having an electrician handle the outlet placement because I wanted it done safely and cleanly. If you already have an outlet near the toilet, your life is easier. If you do not, factor that into your plan because you do not want an extension cord running across a bathroom floor. I also had to deal with removing my old toilet and getting the flange situation sorted out. That was the most annoying part for me, not because it is complicated, but because older hardware can fight you. Once that was handled, getting this unit seated and tightened down felt straightforward. I put down a soft rug and used it to slide the toilet gently into place so I did not scratch the floor while adjusting the position. That is one of those real-life little tricks that helped a lot. Daily use is where you find out whether smart features are actually helpful or just extra buttons. In my case, the auto lid function is something I noticed immediately. When I walk up, the lid opens from the sensor. The first day I caught myself pausing because I am used to doing everything manually. After a couple of days, it started to feel normal, and I noticed I was touching the toilet less overall. If you are the person in your house who cleans the bathroom, you will appreciate that. It is not perfect though. If you walk close to it while cleaning or moving around the bathroom, it can trigger when you do not really need it to. I adjusted my habits and it stopped bothering me, but I did want to say it out loud. The remote control is how I do most adjustments, and I like having it because I do not have to reach behind me. The buttons are easy enough to understand after a short learning curve. The wash functions are the core of it. There is a rear wash and a feminine wash, and they feel meaningfully different in angle and how gentle they are. Water pressure matters a lot here. Too low and it feels pointless, too high and it can feel harsh. I ended up keeping it in a middle range most of the time and only bumping it up if I needed it. The nozzle position adjustment is also not a gimmick. People sit differently, and being able to move the spray forward or back made it feel more consistent from one use to the next. Water temperature is another thing that sounds fancy until you actually use it. Cold water can be fine in the summer, but it is not my favorite when the bathroom is chilly. I set it to warm and basically left it there. Same story with seat temperature. I did not think I would care. Then I used it on a cold morning and understood why people like heated seats. I do not crank it up because too warm feels strange to me, but a mild heat is comfortable. There is also an air dryer. This is one area where expectations matter. It does work and it is convenient, but it is not like a hand dryer that blasts you dry instantly. I treat it as a way to reduce how much toilet paper I use, not eliminate it every single time. When I am not in a rush, I let it run and it gets the job done. When I am trying to get out the door, I use a small amount of paper and move on. That is a realistic balance, and I think most people will land there. One feature I did not expect to use as much is the night light. It is simple, but it makes nighttime trips easier without turning on harsh overhead lighting. It is also just nice not to feel blinded at 2 in the morning. The nozzle cleaning function is another daily life thing that matters. You can trigger it and actually see the nozzle come out and rinse itself. That is reassuring, and it helps with the mental side of using a bidet. Cleanliness is the whole point, and knowing it is maintaining itself makes me more comfortable using it regularly. Flushing has a couple of ways to trigger it. I use the auto flush most of the time, and it was consistent for me. Manual flush is still there when I want it. I did have to adjust to the timing because I sometimes stood up and expected it to happen instantly, and it took a moment. That is not a problem, it is just different. Now, about smart features and the mobile app support in real life. With this model, my day-to-day control is through the remote and the built-in controls. That is what I reach for, and that is what feels natural in a bathroom setting. I personally do not want to pull out my phone in the bathroom to change settings, so even if you are someone who likes apps, I would still say the remote matters more. For me, the practical smart part is that the toilet remembers settings, handles the lid, manages the cleaning cycles, and gives me consistent results without fiddling every time. Real-world testing basically meant using it across normal situations. Early mornings when I am half awake, late nights when I want the lights low, after workouts when I want a stronger wash, and also when friends came over and I wanted to see if the controls were confusing for someone new. The main pattern I noticed is that people either love the idea immediately or feel unsure at first. The remote helps, but I still found myself giving a quick explanation like, use rear wash, adjust pressure if you need to, and the dryer is optional. After that, most people are fine. There are some limitations. Installation is not nothing, and the need for power can be a deal breaker in some bathrooms without planning. The sensor lid is convenient, but it can trigger at moments you do not care about. The dryer is helpful, but it takes time. Also, because this is a one-piece unit, if you are used to swapping out basic toilet parts from any hardware store, this is a different mindset. You are buying an integrated appliance, and you should treat it like one. Overall, I like using it. It made my routine simpler, it feels cleaner, and the comfort features are not just there for show. It is not about turning the bathroom into a tech showcase. It is about small, practical improvements that add up when you use it every day. I will leave detailed information about the HOROW HRT05S Luxury Bidet Toilet in the comments for your reference. Thank you for watching.